You recently started a podcast. Very
Yeah.
cool. I listened to the first episode. I enjoyed it.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just two music geeks, me and my friend James Campion, who's a journalist and an author. And we were working on a book together. You know, we had done a bunch of interviews over the years, and a couple years ago, James came to me and said, you know, I have so much extra material. This might make a great book. What do you think about, like, doing a book together? And I said, sure. And we started meeting once a week for, like, 4 or 5 hours. We would just talk and discuss things. And after about a year of that, I called him up about 4 months ago now and said, hey, you know this thing that you thought would make a great book? I think it would make a great podcast.
Huh.
So then we just started meeting and recording them. And right away, they were terrible. But after about 4, I finally declared that one of them was good enough to put out. The first 4 were incredibly interesting and absolutely horrible. We said all kinds of smart stuff about things, and it sounded like a couple of idiots. And so then we needed to calm down. We were both like overexcited, and we sounded like it. And we calmed down, and then we started putting them out. And now we do like a couple every week. We're trying to build up enough of a backlog to survive tour.
Got it.
Because we're going to go around America this summer and probably to Europe in the fall. And we've got to have, I don't know that we'll be able to do them so much out there. There'll be some probably when James comes out on the road, but it'll be hard to do very many. Also, when I'm in the middle of playing shows, I can't talk for 3 hours.
Right, you'll lose your voice,
Yeah.
right?
So,
yeah.
you know, we're trying to build up enough of a backlog, and we've already got enough to get through it at this point.
Do you think now that the podcast is happening that the book is done, or do you think there's a book in the works still?
The book was always going to take time. He's got to, you know, take the stuff and translate it into. I mean, I've encouraged him. He wanted it to be more of an interview between the two of us, but I really wanted it to be his thoughts on it. I'm less interested in a book that's just dry interviews with me and him, and more on his perspective about music and what he thinks of the stuff we've talked about. Because he's an author, and I'd rather have it be a little more. If it's just an interview book, he'll be lost in that. It won't matter. But I'd like him to be a writer on it. Also, why should I do all the work?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so.
Right, you do enough work. You're gonna be on tour for quite some time.
Yeah, he just finished. He just put out a book called "Accidentally Like a Martyr" about Warren Zevon. So,
Nice.
for the last 4 or 5 months, he was really doing a lot with, you know, final edits on that, and it's completely done and in the bag now. So he's gone back to working on our book.
That's cool. In the first podcast, you talk a little bit about your upbringing and how you basically traveled around and moved around, and it kind of made you who you are. How so?
Well, I just think I have a different sense of, especially living in America, than most people, because I lived all over it, and I spent a lot of my summers traveling across the country in, you know, family station wagons back then. I think I have a sense of the vastness of it, the scope of the country, and that enters into a lot of my writing, and other deep-sounding thoughts that I can't think of right now. But I'm sure there are some others that are every bit as wise as that one was, maybe. I don't know. We got off this. Believe me, we got right off the serious right away after that first podcast that we put out. We got right back into just being geeks again.
Okay, yeah, you were geeking out in the first podcast a little bit about
glad it
your
happened.
about Big Star and your Pandora playlist and your influences.
Okay, yeah.